Hey everyone, I'm Performance Labs coach Dr. Trey Hodge. I'm accompanied by Morgan Payne, Performance Labs athlete. Today we're going to cover glutes. We are going to do 3 exercises and show you exactly what we do and not to do with glute work. All right, for our first exercise for glutes, we're actually going to focus on the leg sled here. You can actually, this is a variation of a leg press. I do like this one because of the pivoting it does, and does allow a little bit more force go through our heel through this drive here, and we can accommodate a little bit closer to it so we can get that depth. So Morgan, I'm gonna have her do one leg at a time. We're doing single leg press on this one. All right, she's gonna plant her foot like straight ahead like she does have it here. Go ahead and press. We're going to focus on pressing. We're not going to lock the knee out all the way. We're going to keep a slight bend so that way we know we're not losing the movement itself and losing the focus off the glutes. She's going to descend down, okay? And on the eccentric face here, we're controlling it and we're getting that depth where we know we're attacking the hip and the glutes. So we're focusing on still true hip extension in this point too, so that way we know we're working the glutes. This one, we are going to control it. My main thing is I want to definitely control the eccentric part, make sure we are controlling the depth, that we are getting the depth into it and getting a slight pause at the bottom. I usually like a 1 to 2 count pause at the bottom. This one, since we are doing single leg, we are going to focus on anywhere from a 10 to 15 rep range. 4 sets, I prefer with this one as well. Usually want to acclimate, so start off with a very lightweight just to make sure your knees and everything are actually moving like they should and there's no issues with that before trying to increase the weight. So for our second exercise, we're going to still hitting the glutes. This movement we're going to focus on solely hip extension, which that is one of the major movements of the glute itself. So here, Morgan's going to set up. And the main thing with this one we're going to focus on is control. We're driving through our heels as we lower it down and coming up. So everything's going through the heels directed and focusing on just isolating that hip and extending up, squeezing the glutes at the top to make sure we are focusing on glute work more than anything. A lot of times I see mistakes with this where people go too fast and they don't get that really the glute recruitment they need. And a lot of times that momentum puts a lot of pressure on the front part of the hip too, especially with we got a bar sitting across it. We're using the weight now, it's comfortable for her where she can use without padding, but I would suggest some type of like back pad or even some type of padding or floor padding on it. And on this, since we are controlling it, we still want to hit close to like a 12 to 15 rep range. This one I do like going about 4 sets with this. The free weight, of course, I mean, still doing the same movement. I feel like this one, you really can focus on controlling more with the glutes and actually not having to control the weight itself. Also too, I'm a bigger fan of, doing it slower. A lot of times we get to the point where picking an excessive amount of weight in this movement, we actually put a lot of pressure. You gotta imagine there's not much tissue in front of the hip. So when you put a bar that's over 200 plus pounds on that area, you can cause some problems later on if you're not careful, especially if you're not using any type of padding in between. Okay, for our third exercise, we are going to cover Romanian style deadlifts. Here we're going to use dumbbells and focusing on really just controlling the movement again. We're going to do a 3-second count down on the negative, 3-second pause at the bottom to really stretch that glute out a little bit more, and 3 seconds coming up. When we come up, we're going to focus on squeezing the glute stuff. That way we know we're getting the contraction, that hip extension, okay? So Morgan here is going to perform it for us. So she's going to get like a shoulder width stance, focusing all the pressure on the heels. And as you see, she goes down. She's going to actually kind of go shift back a little bit more on the heels, keeping the dumbbells close to her body. All right, come up slow. This way we know we're incorporating the glutes, not necessarily our lower back, but more glute work from this. This one, since we're doing it so much slower, I prefer like an 8 to 10 rep range on this. Really focusing on just the control of the movement. Like I said, when coming back up, we're extending the hips, squeezing the glutes at the very top of the movement. All right, good. With this one, because we are keeping closeness to the body and stuff, we are actually allowing our hamstrings and our glutes to really engage faster. A lot of times when we actually have a bar or anything in front of us and it's actually extending further more, sometimes we'll bend more and get closer to the ground because we're allowing the back to bend. Here we're keeping actually a nice little flat arch in the back, so we're not allowing that bend or that flexion in the back that will allow us to get even further down. So we're really just focusing mainly on just the glute itself working in this movement.